Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitattvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakhatvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Madeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi, chapter 1. Just completed the sloka 54, and up to that the Vidyaranya has taken us from the Sravanam and Mananam part, where I had to listen at the feet of my teacher, where the knowledge can only go from the higher to the lower. So with an attitude, with a humility, I have to approach a teacher, because teacher doesn't have to teach, because he is reveling in himself by himself. It's not like any other teaching. What I want is the absolute truth, and he doesn't need to teach anything. If at all he teaches, is only about compassion. And from the teacher point, he teaches because he has an Acharya Runa, because he himself was once a student and approached a teacher, and his teacher was compassionate enough to teach. So avartantaramapi, from one will pool to other will pool, like an insect we got caught in from one life after life after life, janma to janma to janma, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, and this goes on without no end. From the beginning, I don't know when it started, so it's a beginning cycle, and from the beginning it is going on. We have to end it, because it's enough of samsara, enough of suffering, enough of this cycle. It can only be ended by when I remove the mula avidya. The fundamental ignorance has to be removed, because that's the cause for all this samsara. So fundamental ignorance can only be removed by fundamental knowledge, and the fundamental knowledge is Tattvamasi, the Mahavakya, and which doesn't seem to be logic, but its logic itself is not really valid. It is something scriptural pramana, and I should have a faith for it. And that's how a prolonged length of time I had to study the scriptures under the guidance of a competent teacher. And that's called Sravanam. And after listening to the teaching, and depending upon the degree of the vasanas that are remnant still there, because the ragadveshas are still there, and until those things go away, I had to do nididhyasanam, because I understood, but at the same time it is not internalized. It's going to talk about the pratyaksha, the paroksha jnanam and the aparoksha jnanam. And until that, in order to recognize the fact, and we gave the example of Mr. Jones and the rat, where he thought he was a rat and he was a teaching. That's a misconception about himself, and therefore he thought he was a rat, and he went to the psychologist. Psychologist showed that you are not a rat, you are a human being, and all that. After many years of listening to that, he understood that I am a man, not a rat, and went there and saw a cat sitting there and ran back to the teacher. Said, I understood that I am a man, but I am not sure whether the cat understands that I am a man. It may think I am a rat. This understanding is incomplete. And the same way, I have to understand I am the Brahmasmi, and therefore I can never suffer. But at the same time, when I go into this world and complain that I am suffering, it's just like complaining with Mr. Jones that the cat is waiting for me to eat, because cat thinks I am a rat. The same way, the understanding is incomplete. So that's what the Krishnamurti says. It is not an understanding as a thought, but it's an understanding as a fact. So nididhyasanam is defined, is ekadaratmame tadvidhi. So that indeed of the lakshartham that is being pointed out in terms of Mahavakyas, that constant continuous flow of thoughts in that direction. So there is a thinker, thought, process, but the thought, it's not about something else, about the nature of absolute reality. So nididhyasanam can occur in so many ways, where I can sit and think about it, or even listen to the scriptures, or write about the scriptures, talk about the scriptures, all because in the process my mind is constantly reveling in the direction only. And that is I'm not talking about physics, I'm not talking about zoology or some other factors, but I'm talking about the nature of reality. So constant reflection of the nature of the truth is nididhyasanam. It can be done in so many forms, and necessarily sitting in the seat of meditation and think in that direction. Or if the mind cannot think in one direction, you continue transacting, but transact in the field where the mind can think in that direction. So listening to the classes, listening to the teaching, some more. Now Shravanam is not the learning process. Shravanam is affirmating and internalizing the teaching. So when still constantly you have to listen to the scriptures, constantly study the scriptures, constantly talk about the scriptures, constantly discuss about the scriptures. The scriptures is about the truth, and that has to be done. All that comes under nididhyasanam only. Now we'll take the sloka 55. Dhatru-dhyane parityajya Dhyatru-dhyane parityajya Kramadhyeyaika gocharam Kramadhyeyaika gocharam Nivata dipavachittam Nivata dipavachittam Samadhirabhidhiyate Samadhirabhidhiyate. Together. Dhyatru-dhyane parityajya Kramadhyeyaika gocharam Nivata dipavachittam Samadhirabhidhiyate. Now he is defining what is samadhi. So people want to go to samadhi. So here the Vijayaranya's description of samadhi, and different people have different descriptions. So we have to see what is samadhi, what is a sahaja samadhi, and all that. And can I sit down and meditate and go into samadhi without the knowledge of the scriptures also? Because a lot of people, you don't need scriptures. All you have to do is, who am I, inquire and go to samadhi. You will be in the state of that understanding. And that's what a lot of so-called direct paths are there. Now, so in the direct path is without reading scriptures. Indirect path, or the reading scriptures, is non-direct, it is curvilinear path. So here scripture says this is the direct path. Srotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha is the direct path. If there is another direct path, the scripture would have recommended immediately. So dhyatru-dhyane parityajya. So dhyatru and dhyane. Dhyatru is the one who is a meditator. Dhyane, the meditation process. Parityajya, kramat parityajya, slowly giving up. So here samadhi is a state where you slowly give up. Dhyatru dhyane. I am a meditator, and this is to be meditated upon, has to be given up. That's what it says. Jaya ekaika gocharaha. What is then remaining? There are three triputi in all this. This is, I am a meditator, and the meditation, and the meditated, the object of meditation. So I am ceased to be any more meditator, and meditation itself is not there. When meditation is not there, what is left is only one, and that is the goal on which I was meditating, and that itself is left, and that is essentially the jayam. The object of meditation is I am that. I am the Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is the object of the meditation. So kramat parijajya, giving slowly that I am a meditator and this has to be meditated, and how are you going to give up? He is going to tell that also. So jayam ekagocharaha. So seemingly one, the object of meditation is only one, and chittam samadhi abhidhiyate. When I give up these slowly, I end up in only constant awareness of the truth. That's what essentially awareness. Truth is Aham Brahmasmi is the truth. Aham Brahmasmi is not a meditation, is not a japa. It is a recognition of that. Who recognizes all that is a question. We will address that slowly. But that is constant in that understanding of Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, where it says Nivata Deepavat Chittam Samadhi Ramidiyate. So the Ekagocharaha, it is single pointed oneness of the only Jayam. The goal of the meditation remains, because we have brought Kramat, slowly, step by step, we left that. So Chittam Samadhi Abhidhiyate. That Chittam in the mind, Samadhi Abhidhiyate. The mind, now look at what way he says, the mind, Samadhi Abhidhiyate, it gets into Samadhi. It's the mind that gets into the Samadhi. Samadhi Abhidhiyate. What is Samadhi? It says Samadhi, etymologically, it is Samyak Adhinam Samadhi. Samyak Adhinam. Adhinam is placed. So Samyak Adhiyate Yasmin, that is Samadhi. Tasmin Manaha is Samadhi Abhidhiyate. Chittam Samadhi Abhidhiyate. So the mind is placed in the state where it is no more meditator and meditated. That's what is the statement. Who is placed? Is the mind. So not going beyond the mind or anything. It is the mind itself in the Samadhi. How? He gives an example. Nivata Deepavat. So Nivata Deepavat is the Vata is the air. So where there is no air, is a still, calm, quiet, and the burning of the lamp or burning of the flame. So flame is going upwards and there is no perturbation. Nivatam means there is no air blowing anywhere. It's a constant burning of the flame where it's pointing towards higher. So flame is always pointing towards higher, and the same way the mind is constantly pointing and stabilized in that without any movement, and that's what is essentially Samadhi. So things that we need to be clear is, first, it's not going beyond the mind. Mind is required for Samadhi. Number two, Samadhi is what? It's not an absence of thoughts also. What is required in Samadhi? Samadhi is, as I am constantly contemplating on that, it is recognition that I am without any need of thought anymore. Because there is no palavyapti in the case of Brahmajnanam. Palavyapti and Vrittivyapti, these are discussed exhaustively in the Advaita literature. So just to give you a simple analysis, this is when I don't know something, and if I know, there is a knower, known, and a knowing process, pramana. Pramana is a means through which the ignorance is removed and I can see what it is. So here is a pot. So when I see the pot, so pramana is seeing, so pratyaksha pramana, seeing, I say, yes, this is a pot. So how does it happen? According to the Advaita, according to the actually Mimamsa, which Advaita Acharyas have followed, that the mind along with the senses grasp the object and a vritti is formed, and that is thought is formed. That is called vritti vyapti. And palavyapti is conscious that I am, illumines the thought and gets reflected back to the mind. So it says, now I know this is a pot. So there is an object knowledge, because there is an object ignorance is removed by object knowledge. So there is a palavyapti. The vyapti is because there is a result for this objective. Ignorance is removed by objective knowledge. It's called Thula Vidya. Thula Vidya is ignorance of this, which is removed by knowledge of this. So each is specific. If I know, now I know what is a pot. But there are two thoughts there. One is, this is a pot, And also, I know this is a pot, also a vritti, a modification occurs spontaneously when I see that this is a pot. So there are two things. One is, I know this is a pot. This is a pot is immediate knowledge. I know this is a pot, spontaneously rises. I am a knower of this pot. How do you know? I know. What is this? This is a pot. So this is a pot is object identification, and also subject knower thought also arises spontaneously, and this is called knower known thought. Aham vritti, idam vritti. The Bhagavan Ramana also calls it aham vritti, idam vritti. And I can drop idam vritti, but aham vritti has to be there. But here says essentially the object is about an identified. But when the object becomes the Brahma Jnanam, then there is no palavyapti. There is the pramana is required to remove the ignorance. When the ignorance is removed, the palam is self-revealing. So there is no palavyapti. Why? Because the nature is not objective identification, it is the very subject itself, and the subject-object duality goes away. So it says jhatur jhane, the process, and here talk about the subject is gone. What is left behind is that which is the phalam. Phalam is that aham brahmasmi, is the I am the total. That phalam remains, and that is there is no palavyapti because I am all the time anyway. So that's what he's going to talk about the aparoksha jnanam. And it is like Sureshwara gives a beautiful example. Says I am entering into a pitch dark room with a torchlight, small focused torchlight, and so I don't see any object without the torchlight. So I focus the torchlight with each object. Here is an object, here is an object. So here is the chair, here is the table. So as I keep focusing my torchlight, I am getting the knowledge of the existence of or the presence of the object. So there is a vritti vyapti and palavyapti, because I know, yes, this is a chair, I know it, and that knower, known, and knowing, Triputi is there. Knower, known, knowing is called the triad that we discussed before, is there in a very objective knowledge. Then suddenly I saw a pot, and it is in a position of inverted position. So he says, out of curiosity, I need a torchlight to see the pot though. So I use the torchlight, and then I discovered there is a pot. So I have a knowledge of this. There is a vritti vyapti and palavyapti. So when I lift the pot, then I discover that there is a candle burning. So what should I do? Should I put a torchlight to see candle burning? Because candle burning is self-revealing. I don't need a light to see the light anymore. It is immediate. I don't need a means to know anymore. That is essentially palavyapti is not there. Same way, the ignorance is removed by the jnana vritti. Ignorance is removed by jnana vritti, that is srotavyaha, mantavyaha. And in the process, I realize the truth, which is no phalam, because it is I am the truth. It is like a 10th man story they give. I'm sure many of you are familiar. So there are 10 people they call it Paramananda Yasisha, the disciples of Paramananda. This is a classical, the children will learn as a joke, but this is a Vedantic truth. So 10 people cross the river, and the teacher knows these guys are very stupid, says make sure all cross the river, and then so that they are given some work to do afterwards. So there's a leader appointed for them. So all they crossed, and the leaders wanted to make sure everybody crossed the river. So he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because he assembled everybody, and 9 people are standing there, and the leader is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where is the 10th man? 10th man is missing. He says, my God, what happened to the 10th fellow? 10th fellow is gone. So the other fellow says, you don't know how to count, you come here, I will count. So he came and the leader went back. He started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He also fought 10th man. So everybody took their turns and found out there are only 9 people there and they can count. And they are all worried and crying and all that. So 10th man is missing. What happened? He got drowned or what happened? So one person watching all this tamasha, and he says he's a teacher. He comes, says, why are you all crying, suffering unnecessarily? 10th man is safe. He is here. So he's not somewhere else. He's here. So everybody is happy. 10th man has crossed also the river. I don't know, we don't see him, the 10th man, but at least it's satisfying to know that there's a 10th man which is crossed. So, sir, where is he? I'm going to show you, because they only seen 9th people. Right, he says here itself, right here is the 10th man. And because of the faith in the teacher's words, they somehow assembled. So you all assembled. The leader says, leader, you stand here and count everything, everybody. He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sir, where is the 10th man? He says, Tattvamasi, you are the 10th man. So now where is the 10th man? Does the one who doesn't start not counting himself and counting all over, this has to be redirected towards internally to discover himself. Not that he is not anyway, he is all the time there, yet he doesn't know that he is there. And he doesn't recognize that he is the one who is missing 10th man. Therefore, what do you have to do in order to it? There is nothing to do but some recognition that you are already that. You are already 10th man. 10th man is already there and has been here, they're counting all the time. And therefore, it is the rediscovery of what I am. That's exactly is the 10th man story. So that essentially what is being samadhi is mind contemplating on the truth, and that's what is essentially required in this. So where is the meditator, meditation and all that all drops out in the process of where there is only constant mind established in the totality. So it's not just the totality, it's a mind established in the totality. It's called Upahita Chaitanyam. That's what has to be understood. We'll go into more details later as we discuss this. So there is no meditator meditated anymore. So here there is a Dattatreya in the Avadhuta Gita. He says, Aham jata param jeyam akandam khandate katam. Says, sir, I want to sit in the meditation. So I have to sit in the meditation and I have to meditate on that. He says that how are you able to differentiate or making a khandana, the divisions of that which is indivisible, because only one. I am different from the meditator is different from a meditated, and therefore you are making a division. Aham jata param jeyam is akhandam khandatika. Either you say there is only a meditator or there is only the object of meditation. Either way, it is the same statement also. So we go into more detail of the way the Vijayaranya explains the samadhi. Let's take 56. Vruttayastu tadanim ajnata apyatma gocharaha ajnata apyatma gocharaha smaranadhanumiyante smaranadhanumiyante yuttistasya samuthitam Yuttitasya samuthitam. Together, Vruttayastu tadanim ajnata apyatma gocharaha svaranadhanumiyante Vruttatasya samuthitam. Vruttayastu, Vruttayaha means thoughts, to indeed. So tadanim, then in the samadhi, Ajnata api, they are not known, even though I do not know the thoughts in that. So there is a thought going on. That's what essentially, it's not a thoughtless state, a thought going on. Vruttayaha tu tadanim ajñātām atmagocharaha in the, but they are visible to the atma, to the self. Smaranat anumiyante. Smaranat, one can remember or reflect on the anumiyante, or inferred, or one can logically deduce that Ruttayasya samuttitam. So after coming out of the samadhi, one can anumiyante, one can remember the thoughts that went into samadhi, in the samadhi. So here there are many things that are being pointed out here. Samadhi, he says, it's not a thoughtless process. That's obviously evident, because he is able to reflect back the thoughts that went to, when I say I am only constant on the jhaya, aham brahmasmi. But in the aham brahmasmi, the other thoughts keep coming and going. So I'm not constantly, when I am in the seat of meditation, I am not really reflecting on it. But when I come back, I can remember those thoughts also. And even the remember is also in the mind only. So here, it's a very strange statement of the Vidyaranya, clarifying what is samadhi. Samadhi is not going into some state where I don't know anything about this world. It's not that, that's what obviously implied. Where I am constantly reflecting flow of thoughts like aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, constant reflecting of the thought. So I am Brahmasmi means I am Prajnanam Brahma. I am of the nature of consciousness, that's conscious of this world, conscious of this object, conscious of I am that light of consciousness that is enlivening all this. My mind is shifted to that state of understanding when, in spite of the things that are coming and going. Follow now? It's not necessarily and need not be sitting in one seat of meditation. I can be in the samadhi. I can also be called Atmaradi. Atmaradi means I am reveling in myself. What is the self that I am reveling? In the constant thinking of the mind, not any objectifiable external objects, but on the same thought, and the same thought, so that I can have a vehicle to go beyond. So you can still use a japa or Narayana or Om Namo Narayana to go and use that only as a means for the mind to establish that I am the light of consciousness that is involved in the knowledge of Om Namo Narayana, in the chanting of Om Namo Narayana, in the execution of Om Namo Narayana, because it is ekata, one constant reflection of that. So now we know what exactly samadhi involves, not the merely absence of the thoughts, but I am not paying attention to any thoughts that are coming and rising, because I am paying attention to the light of consciousness that is illumining that. Because in every thought, as the scripture says in the Mundaka, in the Kenopanishad, it says Pratibodha Viditam Matam. It is revealed in every thought. So a thought rises, consciousness is illumining, but I am not paying attention to the thought that is raising, but to the light of consciousness that is because of which thought is raising. So the thought content is not disturbing me, because my mental attention is not on the contents. You are looking at my hand, but your thought, you are looking not at the hand, but to the light only, forgetting the hand. Hand is required, but forgetting the hand, but looking at the light only that's coming out. Looking at next other object, I am looking at the table, and again my concentration is not on the shape and the form and the attributes of the table, but the light that is illumining the table, because of which I could see. So here light is different from me, but in the other case, in the mind, I am the light that is illumining. So I am, keep going in spite of many thoughts that are coming and going. So ahamina shabad jahamaham taya. spurati hrut swayam. So aminasham ajaham aham taya. Aham, I am. Spurati, spontaneously raises in the mind. Now this spontaneity of raising of aham is samadhi. It's not no more anymore need not close your eyes also, but by closing my eyes I am eliminating distractions, too much of distractions. I can concentrate on one, so that there is a possibility that mind runs away with because of attachments of some of the objects. I may not get attached to other things, but some things that are emotionally involved I may get attached to. So it is helpful to be in an environment conducive to do this. It's called parivrajakam. So you leave it and go to sannyasa. All those things are already, ashrama is to help this. If you can do at home, you are already sannyasa. So the explanation is that here it says, I can reflect back, it says. So suppose if I want to come back to the world for transactional purposes, I cannot transact in the world when I am aham, when that it's difficult to transact, because I have to pay attention to, particularly if I am using a knife cutting vegetables and all that, I have to make sure that I don't cut the fingers. But when I am transacting, I can recollect any time what was going on all the time. So I am constantly can be aware of the table and hand and all that. At the same time, I am in that state of meditation. That becomes a sahaja samadhi. So here is talking about a recollection of the thoughts that arose when I am in the samadhi. So let's do sloka 57. Ruttina manuruttisyu ruttistu prayatnat prathamadapi adrushta sakrudabhyasa samskara sachivad bhavet. Okay, ruttina manuruttistu prayatnat prathamadapi adrushta sakrudabhyasa samskara sachivad bhavet. Ruttinam, so of the thoughts towards the self. Anurutti, so constant, continuously thinking of the self, to continuous flow of the thoughts. Prathamat, initially. Abhi, prayatnat, by effort one has to do it. So here it says, so this happen spontaneously? No, you have to sit and contemplate on it by deliberate effort. Now you understand the whole truth from this Shravanam and Mananam, no reflections. Consciousness itself appears as many objects, because existent consciousness is only expressing. Now conscious itself is trying to see the objects that are crystallized. So the consciousness is again coming in the form of a subject, consciousness is coming in the form of an object, and therefore in order to see that consciousness that I am, ignoring the attributive content of the superficial names and forms, because that is different, that is a vyavahara, but I am going into the paramarthika understanding where everything is nothing but pure consciousness that is getting reflected. Shifting my attention to that is difficult initially because of ragadveshas, because of the lingering vasanas are there, because when I look at the object, I forget that this is nothing but Brahman only, in the form expressed as existence in that form, and consciousness is joining with the form for me to be conscious of the existence of the form. But I am paying attention to the form than the existence of the consciousness. Form is because of the attributive content, and then on top of it now I am superimposing my likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this, and all that. Now likes and dislikes gone, and I am only paying attention to pure consciousness there. So how to shift? It comes, this is prayatnat pradhamam. In the beginning, you have to make an effort to do it. So it doesn't occur spontaneously, so you have to make it. And this prayatnam becomes more conducive for people who are in the solidarity, in the place where they are calm and quiet, where there is no other, the transactions and relationships and what are called possessions, what Swami Paramartha calls as port, possessions and obligations, relationships and transactions. All that are not there. They are there for transactions, but when you are in the state, it's not there. So mind can dwell on something higher that is substantive of all that. So he says, prayatnat pradhamadapi. And then, as you do constantly this, adrushta sagruda abhyasa. So adrushta and asakruta abhyasa. So essentially, asakruta, they repeated, constantly keep on repeating that. Abhyasa, constant practice is required. So here is, you have to practice and you have to continuously, so that's why they allot a particular time for meditation, particular maintenance. So you have to allot a time for the study of the scriptures and listening to the scriptures, further the mind can revel in that. And adrushta phalam, samskara sajivat bhaved. So this, the adrushta samskara sachivat bhaved, it happens in the samadhi, it goes into the samadhi. By how? It says adrushta anukruta abhyasa samskara sachivat. So adrushta abhyasa samskara sachivat, by constantly doing it, that itself becomes also helpful for me. So essentially, the vasanas get slowly dissolved, and the process, the mind gets purified. And this is what is called, in the Paramartha's language, it's called FIR reduction. FIR means the frequency of perturbation, and I, the intensity of perturbation, and R, the recovery time from perturbation, slowly goes away as I get established. This may be lifelong process. It is not just from tomorrow on I'll be in that state. You may be, depending upon how pure the mind is. So therefore, it can happen, but it can go on depending upon the how many raga dveshas are still there, and therefore it is a lifelong process of. But what is the progress here? Progress is measured in terms of FIR reduction. FIR reduction means the frequency of perturbation from that goes down, means I get perturbed less and less, means you get agitated less and less also transactionally, and intensity of perturbation also becomes less. You don't get that much excited about it. You say there is a problem, now you have to solve the problem. So perturbation is there, and it gets slowly, because you can get control of the mind. So the intensity of perturbation and recovery time from the perturbation. So you get back immediately as you get established. So instantly you get disturbed, but immediately come back. That recovery time also reduces as one abides into this knowledge. And that is adrushta, that is unseen, adrushta phalam. It means due to the grace of the samskara that I have done in the previous lives, or in this life, in the past, whatever good thing I have done, that really helps me to get into this stage. So adrushta samskara sachivat, with the help bhaved, it happens. So, in fact, in the 6th chapter of Gita, Arjuna asks what happened to the person who has not completely established in this. He understood, but he was still having a raga dveshas. Is that all that is gone, and he is called ubhaya-brashta. He neither got this and he neither enjoyed the life. What happens to him? And you only can answer because you know the whole lives and lives. And Krishna answers, nothing will be lost. He will be born in an environment conducive to rapid progress in the next life. and that's what you see. The Mahatmas born and immediately they go into that state. All these things can happen, and this is what essentially the Vidyaranya says. You need adrushta phala, the grace of the merits of all your life will be helpful now for you to take beyond. We go in the next sloka tomorrow, that is the 58. We'll stop here at this 57 with this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.